I was actually doing something, and this thought just came to my mind. Each time I remember this thing, I will laugh. I will sometimes I will just smile, sometimes I just burst into laughter. So I want to tell you guys the story about the most embarrassing day of my life. You know, I've always wanted to put this question, and I was like, oh, let me just share my experience, and you also can also share your experience, or let me know most embarrassing day of your life. Like, what was your experience that day? So you let me know when I'm done, just tell you what happened to me. I was in my 100 level back then, years back, and my there was this thing that was actually disturbing me then, like you know, back then I stammer here. So one day when I came back from school, at my 100 level, you know those student now, this just go back from school, blah blah blah, undergraduate vibe. So when I came back that day, I stayed, and my mom they invited me that there's this church close to our house that we used to attend. I still attend the church, but back then we were attending the church like it was our main church. So we went for this. We're having a Christmas carol that day, and we went for the Christmas carol. So now during Christmas carol, obviously to give them first lesson, second lesson, third, understand to read. There's those Bible versions that you guys will give some persons to read. So they actually gave my mom. There was a lesson they give to her. So we were not giving because the previous Sunday I was not in church and I was there. But so when I give them the lesson on that day of the church, I left my house like normal. Where with my sister, and when we got there, so the person that was supposed to take that particular lesson, the person was not around. So the pastor invited me. Oh yeah. So the pastor invited me and like, oh, it's the pressure that I will take that particular portion of the Bible. I think it was like the sixth lesson or ninth lesson or something. So I was like, okay, no problem. And my mom was like, can you do it? Some persons will be like, oh, are you fighting because of the crowd? I said, no, no problem, I can't. So we sat down. The person that took the first lesson, the person took the second. So even my mom took hers. So when it got to my turn, or more, before I could go to the altar, there was this fear. My heart was just beating very fast, and I was like, "Oh Jesus!" So when I got to that place, I had this confidence that okay, fine, I was going to read, blah blah blah. So when I got to that place, I could not read. This stammering just started. Hey, Jesus Christ. So after this day started, I could literally hear myself. Like I was saying, I was saying Jesus, but let me read what is written in the Bible. I could not read it. And I was so ashamed. I was sweating in every part of my body, in my arms, my everywhere. Like I, I knew that. But I was really wet because I was sweating. It was just embarrassing. Like in the mind, I was like, oh, everybody will think that I can't read. I can read, but and I was actually at the same time I was trying to code myself so that people will know that okay, is this girl stammers, blah blah blah. That was how I stayed though. I was as I was trying to like, oh, let me read this. The thing refused to come out. The more I was trying to like do it, the more I was finding it difficult. And even after years, I can never forget what happened that particular day. I was in the altar there. The only thing I was thinking about, good God, let this day just pass. I was able to read to an extent, and the pastor later said, I should go to my seat. So the whole church was quiet. Like, that's like, this auntie, I could read their face that it was written all over them. Like, oh, this auntie cannot read though. In my mind, I was just telling myself, Jesus, let the church just go. So I went. From the pulpit, I walked to my seat. I did not look at anybody's face. I got there, I sat down. I just sat there and I put my head down. I could see my siblings like they were so ashamed in their mind of me like oh my god, I'm so sorry. So I could read their faces. They were like, hey, this girl, come here. Like you can imagine that kind of stuff. And I could feel the disappointment, like it's not my making, but I just sat there. I was just thinking in my head, I was like, I said, God, why you have disgraced me? You know, I was asking a lot of questions. My mind was just moving here and there at that particular time. So when they finished, every single thing they said in that gathering that day, I didn't listen to anything. All I wanted was to just go home, just for me to leave that place and for me to clear my head and all that. So when I left that, when we got to the house, immediately they closed. I Before they said they could finish even saying the grace, I ran home. Like I ran. I didn't wait for my parents. I didn't wait for my siblings. I ran. When I got to the house, I cried. My mom made sure that none of my siblings talked about it. They made sure that nobody talked about it. Like nobody mentioned that. Everybody was just quiet that night when we got to the house. Everybody was just quiet. They couldn't say anything because she didn't want them to bring it up so that it will get me more upset or I'll feel like, oh, I messed up, blah 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 blah. So everybody just kept quiet and we just stayed, like when you just stay like see somebody just that was how we stayed in that place. Or after the whole scenario that night, I slept. I cried. I could not even eat because I was so pained. I felt so embarrassed. I felt so ashamed. I didn't know what to do. I slept, and that night I prayed. I said, God, just take this thing away from me. It's so embarrassing. Just take this thing away from me. Like the things that you want to do, you can. There's sometimes you be in a gathering and you want to say something, you cannot say it because hey, this thing will just start. And the next thing, people sitting beside you, you are already reading their mind. They're feeling like they're telling you, just keep quiet, just keep quiet, just keep quiet. People are talking, this kind of stuff now. That was how I still do after that whole this thing, that period. I couldn't even go to the church. I think after some time, I just stayed away for some time because I was just ashamed of myself. Since then, this story I'm telling you about now, it's over. Yeah, what's 15 years? It's more than. It's a very long time. Yeah, it's a very long time. This thing happened like 27. Yeah, it happened in the year 27. And each time I remember that incident, I will laugh. I still attend the church, but you see, that experience never left my head. And that night, after I prayed, I cried. I told God, just take this thing away from me. And a few years later, I don't know, I can't remember how it actually stopped. But all I know was that this thing was no longer there. Whenever I want to do something in public, it's just like I'm talking to you now. Like whenever I want to do something, I don't. It's not really there. But the only time I notice it is when I feel like, oh, I'm angry or I'm upset. So maybe God's just trying to make me know that the only way that this thing can actually get for you not to be upset. And back then, some persons to be like, if I hear some persons to be like, oh, because the person stammers, they have this bad temper because they're trying to express or they're trying to tell you what actually happened because they can't express themselves. They tend to be very upset. But then, mine wasn't like that too because I knew that, oh, when I have issues with people and they will like come and explain, where will I start from? How will I explain? So because of that, try as much as to stay away from trouble, to stay away from problem, to stay away from things that will actually make me to come and start explaining myself to people. And it actually really helped me. Yeah, it helped me because I stayed away from things that will trigger, that will make me to be in a situation where I have to explain myself. Like, come and explain myself. Where will I start from? Where will I start? So that day, that was what happened to me, and since then I have never forgotten about it. So let me know in the comment section where and how was your worst experience that you ever wish, like, at that day I was wishing for the ground to open, let me enter, but the ground will not open. You just be standing there. At that moment, and I was sweating, all I wanted was like, Jesus, Jesus, and everything I was saying was echoing in my ear. People were there hearing me, and I felt so. So let me know in the comment section what's your experience like the worst, the most horrible day of your life. What was your experience like? How did you feel about it? Let me know in the comment section. Have a wonderful day.